Hello, everybody, and thank you to everybody for choosing to spend a few minutes with me and, let's say, getting entangled with me. My name is Alberto Arribas, and I work for Microsoft. What I do in Microsoft is to lead our sustainability science work for the whole of the European region. And today I want to talk to you about my work and what I do, which essentially means that I'm going to be talking to you about climate change and environment, and more generally, I'm going to be talking to you about how all of this gets entangled with us human beings and everything that us human beings do, from the way we eat to the policies and laws we create to how we relate to each other. I want to start by talking a little bit about entanglement because I got really intrigued when Gordon Blair, who is one of the organizers of the festival, approached me a few weeks back to do this podcast. I have known Gordon for a few years now, and Gordon is great. So when he mentioned that this was part of a festival called Entangled, I got really excited. And I got really excited because the first thing that came to my mind when I thought about entanglement was the quantum physics phenomena of particles being linked together even when they are separated by large distances. But at the same time, the other thing that popped in my mind was the more common definition of entanglement as something that is complicated or intricate. And this really resonated with me because those two definitions or sides of entanglement, the definition of entanglement as a connection, even far away in space and time, and the definition of entanglement as something complicated or intricate, really apply to my job and to what I do in sustainability. But before I talk about my work, I would like to tell you a little bit more about myself. I was born in Spain, I studied physics, and I got interested in environment, and more specifically, I got interested on how to make predictions about the environment. And this led me to do a PhD in climate modeling. Later on, this interest of mine in environmental predictions brought me to the United Kingdom, where I have been for the last 20 years. And this allows me to show a couple of very personal bits of entanglement. The first one is that, perhaps unexpectedly, the accent that you are hearing is actually a British accent, or at least is an accent that has a British passport. The second very personal kind of bit of entanglement is that what brought me to the United Kingdom was a job at the Met Office to develop prediction models for weather forecasting. And yes, I'm probably one of the very few people that can say that came from Spain to the United Kingdom because of the weather. So there you go, some personal and perhaps unexpected levels of personal entanglement. But let me come back to what I do because while I was working on weather and climate prediction, I got more and more interested in technology and the role of technology to help solve these environmental problems from climate change to biodiversity. This in turn took me to Microsoft, where I'm happily working and where I am essentially spending all my time in the area of sustainability. So let's start talking about sustainability. What sustainability means to me is how to avoid depleting natural resources so we can maintain planet Earth in a balanced state so it can support human life. And this has dimensions that go from climate change and reducing the emissions of carbon dioxide to the preservation of ecosystems and biodiversity. One thing that I want to highlight or repeat is that the point of sustainability is not about saving planet Earth in the abstract. The point of sustainability is to save human beings, or more specifically, to preserve planet Earth as a place where human life and the life of plants and animals can really thrive so we can continue living here happily for many years. So in many ways, we can say that sustainability is all about preserving the entanglement of all of the elements that make life possible. The aspect of sustainability that perhaps we hear more about is climate change and the need to reduce carbon dioxide emissions to avoid disastrous levels of global warming. This is a well-known scientific fact. If we humans increase the amount of CO2 in the atmosphere, we will continue increasing the global temperatures, and we will continue changing the climate, and that will lead to kind of increase kind of extreme weather events. And this has now been observed in heat waves and heavy precipitation events and droughts and other phenomena. It is worth noting that the scale of the recent changes in the climate system is well unprecedented over many centuries, even thousands of years, and it is clear that has been caused by human action. But I want to look at this issue of climate change through the lens of entanglement. The main gas causing global warming is carbon dioxide or CO2. And there are two important things to notice about CO2. The first one is that CO2 mixes very well and distributes itself very well across the atmosphere. The second thing that we need to notice is that CO2 remains in the atmosphere for quite a long period of time. It remains for decades. And these two things combined mean that there is a high level of connection, a high level of entanglement, if you want, in space and time. In many ways, it doesn't matter where emissions are generated, whether they come from Sydney or Nairobi or New York, or when they are generated, whether they were generated 10 years ago or today. What matters is that the accumulated total, because it is the accumulated total that is going to affect all of us for a very long time. So climate change in many ways means that we are all entangled together, not just across the whole planet now, but also entangled in time and possibly for many generations to come. So think about that. The children of your children will feel the effects of the emissions that you make today. The children of a person that you have never met in Moscow or Bangladesh will feel the effects of the emissions that you make today. And now think about it in another way. So the national, the regional, the local policies that we create and we put together also have a global impact. A congestion charge in Birmingham is entangled with the world. This is quite something. A local policy really has a global impact, and it has a global impact not just today, but for many years to come. Of course, this also applies to personal decisions, from the way we vote to the way we eat or travel. And here is where we can perhaps see the other meaning of entanglement as something that is intricate or complicated more clearly. Take this example. How do you calculate how much carbon dioxide has been emitted to prepare the sandwich that you are about to eat? From the carbon that is generated to grow the vegetables inside the sandwich, to the carbon that is generated to produce the flour and bake the bread that makes this sandwich, or the carbon that is emitted to create the packaging that the sandwich comes in. In many ways, it is easier to measure accurately the total content of CO2 in the atmosphere than it is to measure the amount of CO2 that we emit when we prepare these individual components of a sandwich. And this to me is a really fascinating aspect of my work and of sustainability in general. It is truly entangled in all dimensions. Sustainability is complicated and it's intricate, but it's also linked and connected to everything, not just now, but for many years to come. And sustainability is something that really matters a lot just to sustain human life on Earth. So thank you very much. It has been a pleasure talking to you all, and I hope that you have enjoyed listening to this podcast. And I really hope that you will continue enjoying the rest of the festival. Goodbye.